first was black with white patches, a she-cat. It raised its head and sniffed the air. Its blue eyes flicked around warily. Behind her, there was another cat, a tom with short, brown fur and a tattered ear. River nearly gasped when she recognized the two. It was Livy. The white-patched she-cat had been in her training group during her time with the Legion, and the other was Carter, a rather soft-spoken tom who she remembered vividly from graduation. Although she had barely spoken to either of them, River remembered Livy as a quiet, friendly she-kit who often helped other trainees when the teachers weren't looking. She also remembered that when the teachers did look, Livy could be a dangerous opponent, very good at acting obedient in order to survive. The same went for Carter. It's how the two managed to pass the final test. With this realization, River knew it was best to remain in her hiding place. She had no way of knowing if this Livy was the compassionate one or the obedient one. She had not seen the white-patched she-cat for moons, after all, and anything could have happened. If she's corrupted, she won't hesitate to call for reinforcements or attempt to take me out and bring my body back as a gift for the leaders, River thought bitterly, watching her old classmate closely. Livy sniffed again, and her eyes landed on River's hiding place. River stiffened, her heart thudding with alarm. She supposed it had been too much to hope that the city's stench would mask their scent. Slowly, the patch-pelted she-cat began walking toward her slowly. Stay calm. Stay calm. You can take her. River unsheathed her claws. If I leave out suddenly when she's not expecting it... River? River, is that you? Livy whispered tentatively. River hesitated at the sound of uncertainty and kindness in the she-cat's voice. Carter's expression was unreadable, however there was no hostility emanating from him either. It could be an act. River, if you're there, it's okay. We aren't with the Legion anymore. We're actually hiding out here. The brown cat felt doubt prick her paws. Hiding right outside their territory? Livy crouched to the ground, staring at the opaque shadows that shielded the silver-striped she-cat. Her eyes were unfocused, clouded by fear. With a flash of shock, River knew Livy wasn't lying. That look was genuine. She recognized it all too well. Pushing her way out of the bracken, River stood before her old friend. Livy sprang to her feet, blue eyes glimmering. River, it is you! Oh, I missed you! The black and white she-cat raced forward, rubbing her head against River's chest. Taken aback, the brown she-cat stood awkwardly, unsure how to take the gesture. I missed you too, she finally replied. Livy looked at her with a smile. Where did you go? The last time I saw you, you were with Cloud. Livy's voice trailed away and her blue eyes became fearful again. She shook her head and asked anxiously, Where is your brother? Is he okay? We got separated when we escaped. Oh no. Well, wherever he is, I'm sure he's fine. He was always a tough little Tom, Livy murmured. At this point, Carter finally stepped forward. His green eyes held the same tinge of fear, and he meowed softly. I hope your brother is well. He was one of the best of us. River didn't reply, looking away. Dusk is doing rather well for himself, the brown Tom continued, a note of bitterness entering his voice. Livy shushed him quickly. I doubt River wants to hear about Dusk right now. You're right, the she-cat meowed, and Livy looked at her with wide eyes. Dusk isn't who I came for. My mom, did you see any sign of her? Livy hesitated, then shook her head. Carter did the same, voice no more than a murmur. We haven't seen her since you and Cloud disappeared. River's heart sank abruptly. But I'm sure she's still alive. Wire and Bale were talking about her a few weeks ago before Carter and I made her escape. I think they were on guard at the Eastern prison. The brown she-cat looked at her paws, not daring to hope. Looking the two in the eye, her tone was urgent. Tell me everything that's been happening in the Legion lately. I need to know because I'm going in to rescue Mom tonight. Their eyes widened. River, you've got to know a mission like that is suicide, Livy meowed desperately, and River tried a reassuring smile. I'm not going alone. She raised her voice slightly. Stone Kit, Echo Kit, you can come out. These cats are friends of mine. Livy and Carter looked around as the gray Tom and tortoiseshell she-cat appeared from around a sharp corner. The two padded forward, dipping their heads uncertainly to the strangers. It's nice to meet you. Stone Kit and Echo Kit? Livy mewed, seeming curious about the strange names. They come from a place far away from here. They decided to come with me to rescue Shard. Carter flattened his ears, looking at River. Even with help, these two are kits, just like us, River. Besides, ever since Carter stopped abruptly, immediately recognizing the deadly light that had entered the silver-striped cat's gaze. What? River's voice had dropped. Silence stretched, and Stone Kit and Echo Kit looked at River in astonishment. The air had grown colder. Cautiously, Livy murmured, Your father has... He killed John a duel almost a moon ago. He's taken position as the fourth leader. Freeze is... River's claws scraped the floor. What's changed since then? Things were in a bit of chaos afterwards. Fang wanted to kill Freeze, but glare and rage managed to hold him back. You know, Fang and Jaw were mates, right? River managed a quick nod. Well, there was a lot of tension. Fang is still not very accepting of Freeze, but it was in the transition that I and a few other cats managed to slip away without anyone really coming after us. Since then, things in the city have been more regimented. Livy looked at Carter, who explained. The scent patterns of patrols changed. They follow a different route now, and hunting is no different. It's no longer everyone for themselves, but groups seem to go out together to hunt. Sounds more like a clan, Stonekit meowed. At the very least, the Legion doesn't seem to be spreading anymore. More like compacting. The attitude towards fights has changed too. Before it was, well, Jaw was the one who believed in fighting for pleasure and kinship. Ever since he died, a lot of cats in the Legion have gained a more ruthless outlook on fighting. We're planning to head toward the mountains as soon as we can. We're only hiding here because there are two others, Miro and Jade, who are coming to join us before we head out. They just need to find an opportunity to slip away. If you ask me, Carter growled, I'd say the 4 leaders are preparing for something. River looked at her friends, catching the hint of foreboding in their eyes. The 5 cats were silent for a few long moments, as if each were considering what to do next, when Livy spoke up. Are you still planning on rescuing your mother? River nodded immediately. Carter and Livy exchanged a glance, and the two came forward, resting their heads on River's shoulders. Be careful, right? Livy mewed. Don't do anything reckless. You know what the Legion is capable of, Carter murmured. He withdrew, looking River in the eye. His tone was heavy as he continued quietly. I never told you how sorry I am that you... Someone should have stepped in. I should have... He looked away. Livy's expression was pained, and River tried her best to swallow the lump in her throat. It's fine. It happened. I hope you make it as far from this as possible. The 3 former Legion cats bowed their heads together, and it was River who withdrew first. The sun's gone down. It's time. She looked at Stonekit and Echo Kit, who nodded. The trio made their way toward the exit, waving to Livy and Carter as they made their way out into the falling snow once more. It was relatively easy to get into the thicket of the city, but the process was certainly not without tension. The first part of Echo Kit's plan was rather unpleasant. The 3 of them stopped beside a pile of reeking 2-leg trash and with much hesitation dove into it. When they emerged, there was no animal alive that could have recognized their cat scent. For River, they took extra time to find a puddle of mud. It didn't prove too hard, and the she-cat allowed her friends to smear wet brown dirt over her pelt. I'll never get this off, the she-cat grumbled, resisting every urge to shake her pelt. It's either this, or risk being discovered at every turn, Echo Kit reasoned, smiling encouragement. From there, they headed immediately toward the eastern prison, now knowing it was the most likely holding area for River's mother. Sticking to alleyways and avoiding the light of street lamps, River led her friends past many 2-legs. It wasn't until they were within a few blocks of the prison that they encountered their first patrol. Immediately, the 3 pressed against the wall. Every hair on River's pelt stood on end. Her heart thudded in her chest, fast as a hummingbird's wing beat. The buildings towering around her seemed to close in as she watched the patrol grow near. They waited, straining their ears for any sounds of alarm, but the 4 Legion cats passed without a clue. The moment they were out of earshot, River let out a long exhale and continued forward. The prison should be 2 more roads over. There will be more patrols there. Stonekit and Echo Kit were tense beside her. She could tell her friends were just as terrified as she that they would be discovered. They were already deep within the Legion's territory, and it felt like only a matter of time. We have to be more careful than ever here. One misstep, and we're as good as crow food. River cautiously ventured forward. She sniffed the air, and the repulsive scent of 2-leg trash, mixed with the reek of her own pelt, clouded her senses. I forgot just how disgusting this place is. Trying her best to ignore the smell, River focused on cat scent. She darted forward, racing toward their next hiding spot, a small space behind a large trash bin. This process had been going on since they entered the city, darting from hiding spot to hiding spot, spending no more than a second out in the open. She flicked her tail, and they were off to the next location. As they settled, River saw another patrol around the corner. This time, they were sure to be spotted. I hope this works, Stonekit breathed, and the 3 cats tried to act as nonchalantly as possible as they emerged from the shadows. Hey! The leading Legion soldier raised his tail, stopping his companions and eyeing the newcomers with open hostility. Who the hell are you? I'm sorry, sir, Stonekit meowed. He took a breath, trying to hide the quiver in his voice. We were just heading back to our quarters to help Glass here clean up. What happened? The Tom's tone was no more friendly, and Stonekit gulped. We were... You were messing around on patrol, weren't you? The soldier meowed, and Stonekit nodded. With a sigh, the Tom jerked his head. Go back to the barracks, but don't go in until you've cleaned off that muck. All three of you reek. He then gestured for his patrol to continue on. River was almost ready to let out a sigh of relief when the soldier suddenly slashed Stonekit's ear. The gray Tom let out a sharp yelp, a newly formed gash bleeding into his fur, and the soldier growled. Don't even think of messing around when you're on duty. You newbies are all the same. If I catch you like this again, I won't go so easy. The three young cats remained frozen as the Legion soldiers padded away. When they had rounded the corner, Stonekit raised a paw to his ear tentatively. It's not that bad. Let's keep going, the Tom mewed. Stonekit, Echo Kit began, but her brother waved his tail. It's fine. Your plan worked, and it's nothing too permanent. Battle wounds are cool, anyway. The tortoiseshell's Kit's paws were shaking, and with a quick glance at her friend's face, River could tell it wasn't from fear. The brown cat herself wasn't too shocked by the punishment, but still her ears lay flat with suppressed rage. Legion cats had not taken patrol so seriously before. One of Freeze's changes then. The she-cat's claws scratched the tough pavement, and she had to force herself to focus as the three kept moving. Around the corner, an alleyway stretched into darkness, blackness obscuring the end. It was as if shadows had swallowed the place, leaving only a void of gloom. Despite the opaque shadows, River knew that at the far end of the alleyway there was a sloping pathway. It descended below ground level to the prison's entrance, and there would certainly be a guard there. The teachers had taken her class on a tour to the prison once, and River still remembered the tortured look on the faces of the prisoners clearly. She shook her head to scatter the memory, but her paws still trembled. Heart-thumping, River beckoned her friends who raced to her side. She whispered, Down there is the entrance. There will be a guard waiting outside. But if I remember right, they should leave for a quick break to check the perimeter. When they leave, I'll slip inside and go down a tunnel that leads to the prison room. That is where they keep my mother and the other prisoners. You're sure you're okay with this? Stonekit asked. His blue eyes were serious, like pools of still water. River appreciated his composure even after everything that had happened. The brown she-cat nodded in reply, taking a deep breath. If you see anyone approach, then throw a can or something to make a loud noise. If you're discovered, run. You can hide for a short time, but keep moving. This isn't an all-or-nothing mission. If you can make it out, go. The two ThunderClan cats nodded, and River turned towards the prison. Here in the shadows, it was unlikely anyone would spot them. All they had to do was wait for the guard to start his scan of the area. It felt like forever, though, until they finally saw the large she-cat stalk from the shadows and begin down the alleyway. They waited for her to pass, and behind her, River heard Echo Kit's voice. You've got a few minutes. Go! River streaked across the alleyway and down into the prison. The air grew colder. Her breath billowing around her, she kept to the shadows, her fur brushing the floor as she crept swiftly forward. The brown she-cat had never felt more terrified as she advanced down the corridor. What if she's gone? Torn apart in some lesson? What if they're captured? What if they signal me and I haven't found her? What if... Stop it. What if won't find her? She's here. She's safe. And I'm going to rescue her. River pushed herself forward, paw step by paw step, until she reached the end of the corridor. The prison room opened in front of her, cages lining the walls and dim light shining in through the narrow windows near the ceiling. Heavy shadows clung to every corner, and River could hear the faint squeaking and scuffling of rats. There was no sign of any guards, and River took another shaking breath.